In the city of Cyprus in the year 300 BC, there lived a very wealthy merchant named Zeno. During a trip from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his ship sank with all its cargo. What happened was completely out of Zeno's control or anyone else's, and the man suddenly fell into extreme poverty. Now, imagine you were Zeno. How would you react if the work of your entire life went down the drain for no reason at all? Would you be angry? Sad? Would you feel that life and destiny are against you? For anyone, this is the normal reaction. But not for Zeno, the father of Stoicism. A small change lasts an eternity, but changing your mindset at least a little produces greater and more impactful results in the future. The essence of Stoicism is the very definition of acceptance and indifference. After reading the works of Socrates and other great philosophers, Zeno created and taught Stoicism. If you want to learn more about Stoicism and continue transforming your life, we encourage you to check out the books listed in the description below. These books are filled with valuable insights and practical advice from the great Stoic philosophers like Zeno, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. Whether you're looking to build inner strength, find serenity, or achieve a balanced life, these books are essential guides. By purchasing books through the links we share, you help us continue creating content. If this is your first time on the channel, we ask you to help us by subscribing and liking the video. This way we can continue creating more content like this in the future. According to Zeno, although we don't have much control over what happens to us, we do have control over how it affects us, and that's where we should focus. Instead of crying over spilled milk, or in this case, lost goods, Zeno focused on maintaining composure, staying calm and neutral despite his distress. Today, people see Stoics as strong individuals who do not let themselves be bent, nor reach emotional extremes, such as outbursts of anger or anxiety attacks. But the original idea of Stoicism was much more than that. More than a way to describe unemotional people, Stoicism was a way of seeing and understanding the world, a way of life that has endured for centuries. Stoic philosophy can be applied to current situations in the same way it was applied thousands of years ago, and its benefits are just as impactful. Stoicism allows us to process negative emotions from unwanted experiences, to transform them into thoughts that give us a unique perspective on the world. Perspective is everything, and each person has a different one, which translates into different ways of seeing the world. As Stoics gathered and taught philosophy in a public place, their ideology became known. They believed that Stoic principles could benefit anyone, so there was no point in hiding that knowledge behind the walls of a school or palace courtyards. As a result, everyone from the slave to the emperor could learn and become Stoics. And so they did. Among the most notable Stoics in the world were Epictetus, whose name meant acquired and had been a slave, Seneca, who was a renowned statesman, and Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and one of the most powerful men ever. The early Stoics practiced what they preached, avoiding all forms of segregation and fighting against inequality. They even invented the word cosmopolitan, meaning citizen of the world. When we hear that word today, we think of cities like New York, Toronto, Dubai, and London. This was the kind of unity and union that Stoics preached. Even at a time when it was not popular, women were allowed to freely learn about philosophy and become Stoics themselves. So why do so many people adopt Stoicism as a way of life? In a world full of unexpected events, emotions tend to get in the way. In reality, it is not that bad things happen to us that makes us sad, but that unexpected things happen to us. Rain is positive. It helps to water our plants, provides water for livestock, and keeps the temperature cool and humid. But when that dark cloud catches you outside without an umbrella, it is never a good experience. So, why don't we cry when it starts to rain? Because although the situation is not desired, we have understood that it is normal for it to rain. It is inevitable. We can't control it, and we know that as it comes, it goes. Stoicism teaches us to accept something similar. We must expect that all the bad things that can happen will happen. Imagine the worst outcome and be content knowing that it can happen. One of the most well-known Stoic exercises is voluntary discomfort. and it is designed to increase feelings of gratitude. Sleeping on the floor, showering with cold water, or eating nothing but potatoes for a few days. This practice helps you understand that no matter how difficult things are, you will survive and potentially thrive if your mindset is right. Enduring these uncomfortable situations indirectly prepares our mindset for future misfortunes. With the current state of the world, where advertising sneaks in every second, we are made to believe that if we don't have an object, a certain look, or don't earn a certain amount of money, we will never be happy. This message is now more important than ever. We come into the world knowing nothing. We grow up learning things at home, at school, and by observing the world. These three sources of knowledge teach us in different ways, but the question is, do we need to internalize all this knowledge? If we do, we could unknowingly be setting unrealistic expectations in our lives, leaving us ultimately disappointed and unsatisfied. That is not a proper way to decide to live. And we should focus on improving ourselves through our own skills. Attributing any external hope or secondary attachment to the actions we undertake almost always leads to disappointment. Most of the time, we end up trying to fill that void with external things, spending all our money on a car, a house, or even starting a family. We do all that for its external value, not for its internal value. Stoicism teaches that if you approach life this way, you put your happiness in the hands of external forces, forces that can always fail. Cars break down, natural disasters happen, and divorce rates rise. But even the free things in life have a cost. The cost of space, both physical and mental. As Seneca wrote, learning to live with less will create space in your life for the things that really matter. We should base our happiness on intrinsic value as human beings, not on what we have or can physically acquire. We should choose to do everything possible to keep a cool head no matter what life throws at us. Because, despite what we want, we have no control over the things that happen to us. But we do have all the control over how we react to them. That is the dichotomy of control, the most important principle of Stoic philosophy. Stoics teach that we must learn to separate what we control from what we cannot, to determine our value not from the things we do not control, but from the ones we do. Striving for goals is a good trait, but falling apart when things don't go as we want is, from a Stoic's point of view, useless. Making videos on YouTube is much easier than being a Roman emperor, but it can still be quite a challenge. Creating the idea takes forever, then researching it to discard it because it's silly and starting all over again. Writing the script, correcting it, editing, recording, making the thumbnail, and everything else before hitting upload. Everything depends on you until the moment you press the upload button, and once you do, the power passes to YouTube's algorithm. Even so, many people judge the success of a video like this one solely based on the number of views, subscribers, or followers they have. These metrics are mostly out of your control. Stoics teach that you should judge the success of your work based on the amount of effort you put in, not on the outcome of your external hopes. Trust in the process. Think of a person who has worked very hard at their job for the past 6 months. Now they believe they deserve a promotion, so they approach their boss with their performance report. The boss thanks them, does not grant the promotion, and they go home thinking they must be terrible at their job. They do not take into account that the boss might have woken up angry, that someone else might be better qualified at the moment, or that the company is losing money and couldn't afford it. They don't know the reason, but they are still upset. If they had simply valued the quality of the performance report they submitted and continued doing what they were doing to earn the promotion they wanted, they could have been happier overall. This change of mindset is crucial. A true Stoic does not measure their success by the financial gain of their business or job, but by the peace of mind provided by the things that no amount of money can buy. Stoicism has 4 virtues: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Wisdom is being able to separate the internal from the external and the ability to choose our reaction to the things that happen to us. As Viktor Frankl said, Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and that space is our power to choose the response. Courage for them is to persist and resist. Temperance is to do more with less, to say more with less. Just what I just did here. While Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk fight at the top of the Forbes list, Stoics believe that the limit of wealth should be simply having the essentials and then having enough. Justice is the most important of all virtues. It dictates that no one should harm another because we are all born for others, to do good to each other and not to ourselves. Nelson Mandela was one of the most famous African leaders in the world. While fighting against apartheid, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, where he remained for 27 years before finally being released. When he was released from prison, he was elected president of South Africa. Many people thought he would brutally punish all the people who had anything to do with his imprisonment, but he did not. During his time in prison, Mandela read the works of Marcus Aurelius and learned many of the fundamental values of Stoicism. Instead of demanding the heads of wrongdoers, he urged his people to forgive and rebuild. He insisted that the past was already out of control and that the only thing they could do was move forward. That is the way of the Stoic. In modern medicine, Stoicism is at the base of procedures like rational emotive behavior therapy and logotherapy. The former helps patients identify negative thought patterns that are causing emotional and behavioral problems. This allows questioning logically the reasoning behind those negative thoughts. When you realize that many of them are unfounded, you can replace them with more productive and healthy beliefs. Logotherapy, on the other hand, is based on the Stoic principle that human beings are driven by purpose. Even in the darkest situations, we can fill our lives with meaning and happiness simply by figuring out what that purpose is. But this is easier said than done. We have to rethink our way of thinking. Out with the old, in with the new. To replace problems with happiness, we must practice self-esteem. By reorienting our definition of value towards the things we can control, we can stop obsessing over the things that are out of control. That is the key to a more satisfying life. Stoicism helps us navigate through past and present storms to calmer waters. And if the ship sinks and we end up drowning, we will have the peace of mind of having lived a full life. Because remember, everything always happens for a reason. Thank you for joining us today. What resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue this journey of self-improvement together. If you're at a loss for words, just type, stay strong, stay positive, and stay true to yourself to show you've made it through our session. Your interaction fuels this community, guiding us towards wisdom, understanding, and above all, the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity. If you liked this video, please do not forget to like, subscribe if you have not done so yet, ring the notification bell, and drop a comment below. See you in the next video.